Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Kovac Enterprises. This is going to be the finale on the Superman kit that's from Monogram. This is the kit that I chose for the CP101 tribute group build. That was hosted by Kenny May and Daniel Leroy for Chris Cortell. If you recall in the last video in the series that I actually used some of the Bondo glazing and spot putty, and you can see what we got left. So we're pretty well finished with this tube, but it did a real nice job as far as the special effects on the bricks themselves. I'll bring this in a little bit closer. So I went ahead and applied it throughout the whole brick wall itself, just by using my finger and wetting it a little bit, and then just spreading it across all the bricks themselves. Kind of back this up a little bit. I also went ahead for the base part of it. Down here you can see that we also did the bricks down here that were already crumbled off of the wall itself, just to enhance it a little bit. The other thing that I did was to actually take some of the glazing putty and put it on the steel beams in certain areas, certain spots. One here, a couple here in the middle, and down here where it's breaking out. Once that was all done, I basically used Future and brushed it on with a actual paintbrush to seal the putty in. And of course I did that on both sides. We'll turn this around here so you can see on the other side as well. So and then we went ahead, of course, then and glued the wall in place on the base. The next step that I did was basically worked on the base itself. It was first of all brushed on with some gray primer, and what I did was I took some of the Craft Smart black satin, as you see right here, and we went ahead and watered it down and kind of made a dirty wash of it. And so let's go ahead and bring that back around. And what we did was we just applied it with a paintbrush, and I just kind of brushed along the entire base, let it sit for a little bit, and then I came back with a paper towel and just dabbed the excess off, and this is what we were left with, a kind of a grungy, dirtied up looking slab, you know, for the base, for the bottom of the base. Once I did the entire diorama and I was happy with it, then we went ahead and started working on Superman himself. Before I glued his head to his rest of his body, I did, camera probably can't pick it up, but I did end up using some purple from Craft Smart, to satin, and I actually dry brushed it right into some parts of his hair, basically along the sides of his hair, and of course maybe a little bit across his S-curl. So just to kind of give a little highlight, and like I said, I just basically dry brushed that area. I didn't like the way the lips were on him because it was a little bit too light of a color, so I changed colors to this, basically this folk art. It's berries and cream. It's a little bit darker pink, just to enhance his lips a little bit. So so you can see that there, and he's got actually two thumbnails that are exposed, so we just went ahead and did a little bit of some of that with the berries and cream as well on there. As far as the decals are concerned, they came off the paper backing okay. It took about maybe 20-25 seconds for it to release. I did the cape first, and I basically went ahead and used some of this microsol setting solution for that, and just applied it with the brush and let it set up and let it form to his cape. and then when it came for his S symbol on his chest, of course he's got a lot more contours on his chest because of his muscle definition, but we went ahead and applied it and positioned it in the correct spot, and then I actually had to do two to three coats of the microsol just to make it sit pretty uniform across his entire chest there, and just let that sit overnight. So yeah, and then of course, I don't know if I told you this on the other video, but the other series, I did end up painting his belt buckle with some gold, and just to kind of enhance that a little bit. I did save the cape for last as far as gluing it onto his uniform, and with that I used some of the blue tip Gorilla Super Glue on that one, and I was just kind of very careful placing the glue so that it wouldn't run down his uniform or anything, and I just kind of dabbed it on both of his shoulders, and I was wearing gloves at the time, and then just placed the cape and let it set, and held onto it for a good five minutes or so, just so that it would stay in place so it wouldn't droop down. But once that was done, like I said, we just put him on the base there. Now this one foot here actually goes into the base. I did not glue that, so anytime in the future if I need to, for whatever reason, take it off the base, I can still pry that off there and deal with that. But it was such a tight fit, I didn't even bother gluing it down. But that's about it. That's where we're at, and like I said, I really enjoyed putting this together for Chris for his tribute build, and I really appreciate Kenny and Daniel hosting this, and it was a good time all throughout the series. So we'll kind of give this a quick little 180 so you can see all sides. And like I said, there wasn't too much issues with this build. The main thing was just the prep work, and trying to get all the seams hidden as much as possible. So that worked out okay, and so there you go. So with that being said, I hope everyone enjoyed the series on this build, and it was a great tribute for Chris, our good friend. So I hope everybody has a good weekend, and we will catch you on the next build. So long. Bye.